Welcome to Snipisode 36 of the Daily Dose of DMC podcast. Today is Monday, February 20th, 2023, and I'm your host, HK. Good morning and welcome to another week of the Daily Dose of Dedication, Motivation, and Commitment podcast, where we look at all things that revolve around a positive mindset. We wake up in the morning with a grateful attitude. We go about our days thinking about our growth mindset. We go to bed at night appreciating what we have while we try to improve ourselves and become better than the previous version, better than we were the day before. That's what this podcast is all about. And I hope you guys had a beautiful weekend. We went and played tennis on Saturday with the family, and we did that for about 2.5 hours around noon. It was beautiful, sunny, blue sky. And our two sons are in the tennis academy, and we do this from time to time as a family. We just go out and play and have some fun. We run a lot of drills. We got like a basket of 40 tennis balls, and you can just see that dedication, that motivation, and that commitment in the two of them, and how they just want to learn and how they want to grow, especially our older son. He's got that fire, that passion to really keep going. I'm working with him one-on-one, doing drills, and I say 2 more baskets at the end. He's like, okay, let's do 1 more basket. Can we do 1 more basket, Daddy? Just 3 more across the net. I want to get this right. Yeah, and you can just really see how committed he is to succeeding, and it's been an amazing transformation. When he first started to where he is now is an absolute transformation from our perspective, and also from his trainers at the tennis academy. Anyhow, that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about that commitment to the journey this week. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially in today's society, that commitment to sticking to something. And I talk from personal experience. Yeah, I consider myself a jack of all trades. I reach certain things because I'm curious, and then I want to move on to the next thing because I just want to keep learning. And certain things, had I stuck with maybe a little bit longer, they might have gone much, much further than to where I just wanted to go. And that's that commitment we're talking about. Maybe that's a goal that you set for yourself. Maybe it's a project you're working on in school or in your professional field. Maybe it's even a relationship. But when things get challenging, instead of that notion to keep going, but when things get tough, we just drop that commitment. When they get challenging, we just drop it. So why is it so hard to stay committed? And I was just thinking about that, looking at my sons over this past weekend. And I think there's a couple reasons. Sometimes we lose sight of why we started in the first place. Sometimes we get distracted by other things. We lose that focus. And sometimes it's just human nature. We just get tired. We get discouraged. We just want to give up in a lot of things. But here's the thing, guys. If you stay committed to something that is essential for you, you are going to achieve that goal, and you are going to be successful in life as per the definition of success that you have for yourself. Not what society and not what everyone else is telling you that input, but your life, how you want it to be. And there's a couple things. So here's a couple tips off from me in regards to 4 things actually in regards to staying committed. First off is remind yourself why you started. When you feel discouraged, when you feel overwhelmed, take a moment. Just take a moment. Remember why you began that journey in the first place. That's what I do. What motivated you? What inspired you? I go out for a walk. I'm out in nature. I do some sports. Yeah, and I just have these thoughts running through my head, and I try to reconnect with the original purpose of why I started something. Yeah, to reignite that passion, to recommit to that goal. So let's say you want to run a 5K in 3 months down the road. You want to run a 5K. Along the way, you might get frustrated because you're not seeing improvement or whatnot. But remind yourself why you started training. Maybe it's because you wanted to improve your overall health. Maybe it's because you wanted to challenge yourself. Maybe you wanted to set a positive example for your children. Whatever it is, remind yourself why you started in the first place. Second is break it down into smaller steps. You hear me say this quite a bit as well. It's like project management. Yeah, if you're still in school and you haven't learned about this, or once you move into the professional working area, you might come across things like PMBOK or Prince 2 or whatnot, but project management. Sometimes a goal may seem overwhelming when you look at it. You know, when you look at a project as a whole, like holistic, looking at the whole thing, it's huge. But if you break it down into those smaller, more manageable steps, it's going to become easier to stay committed to that journey along the way. You got to set realistic deadlines, celebrate the successes, your progress along the way. Every time you hit a milestone, celebrate that. That's what's going to be important, just breaking it down into smaller, more tangible steps. So if you're writing a book, for example, instead of looking at that as one big project, just break it down to smaller tasks. Say, write 1 hour a day or finish 1 chapter a week, whatever it is. Just break it down into smaller steps. That's tip number 2. Number 3, find a support system. It's always easier, guys, to stay committed to something when you have people cheering you on. Your friends, your family, colleagues, whatever it is. There's people that can offer you encouragement. They offer you accountability. For me, it's my wife in a lot of the areas. She knows me in and out. She knows the things I want to do. We talk about these things. And I say, look, I want to go there, or I want to do this, and I want to accomplish that. And she knows me, and she holds me accountable as I walk that journey. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, you can get a mentor in university or perhaps in your company. If you go to a sports team, a club team, a coach, that's somebody who provides guidance, who provides that support. Say you want to learn a new language. Yeah, there's a lot of great apps like Duolingo and Drops. I'm not making any promotion here. I'm just saying it's great. You can learn from those. But you can't just sit there on the couch and expect to say, hey, I'm going to get better at a language. What you got to do is you hold yourself accountable. Find that support system. Find a language exchange partner. Join a class or a group that meets regularly and practice speaking, active listening. That's what it's about. Find that support system to stay committed to whatever that goal is you're trying to achieve. And then ultimately, very important, be kind to yourself. Staying committed is something that is very hard to do. We've discussed this. There's going to be setbacks. But instead of beating yourself up when those things don't go as planned, just practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness. Treat yourself with understanding. Remember, setbacks are part of the journey. If you miss a day of exercise, or you fall behind on a project, don't beat yourself up for it. Instead, practice that self-compassion, something I've had to learn along the way. A decade ago, I would always have this thing in my head and say, oh man, and then that leads to a lot of other things, and you kind of start giving up and whatnot. But remind yourself that those setbacks are normal and that you're going to get back on track. And if you don't make it to the gym today, that's okay. You're not going to go to the gym tomorrow then and give 200%. What you're going to do is you're just going to go back to the gym and get back on track and get it done. You're going to stay committed to it. But you're not going to beat yourself up to it. Yeah? Those are just a couple tips, guys. A couple tips to staying committed to the journey. And remember, it's not always easy, but it is definitely worth it. If you stay committed to the essential things in life, like I said, you're going to achieve your goals. You're going to build those meaningful relationships. And ultimately, and this is what we're trying to do, is you're going to create a fulfilling life for yourself. That is the beauty of it. Like I said, I've said this in a Snipisode before. I've burnt a lot of bridges. I've built a lot of bridges. But the essentiality, is that even a word? The essentials in that is that you got to stay committed to things. That being said, that's how we're going to kick off our week this week. Stay dedicated, motivated, committed all day, every day.